Hi everyone, welcome back. Okay, so for our second one, we're going to do something similar in that we're using the opposite of what the stencil is created for. Not that it's a fixed rule, but usually if you would use this one, you would daub the paint or ink over and you'll get all these little leaves, and that's fantastic. So we're going to use it. If you've done any inking work, ink plate work, you know what I mean by a printing plate. So we're going to use our stencils like a printing plate. And I've got two here. I could just get one large one for this paper, but I've got two just to see different, because this has got little tiny leaves and it's got sort of a larger flower. And I've already got my painted paper. So if you get yourself maybe one of your junk papers, or you can paint a new one for yourself, and just any colour at all, just have fun with it. So I've just put my paper aside for a second. I'm going to tape these down. So when you think of a printing plate, you know that the design has to really stay still to get a nice crisp image, and the smaller your design, especially like this one here, the more important it is that you don't move your stencil. And again, it's one of those things that is sort of really straightforward and easy, but it just gives you a different sort of look. You know, we had this sort of grungy mixed look when we did the wet wiping, and this just gives another look as well. So for my paint, it's important that your paint doesn't dry. It just won't work if your paint dries, and it can dry really quickly on stencils, you know, because it's so thin. And if it's too thick, it's going to run into the design and ruin your design, you know. So it has to be fairly thin, and at the same time you don't want it to dry. So make sure you use a very wet paint, a fluid, acrylic, that sort of thing. And then have your brayer out and a scrap bit of paper as well. Just have an extra backup bit. Okay, so I'm going to still use my gouache, and I'm doing the opposite of what I just told you of using fluid paint. But this is a water media, which means I can simply just use water. When you start using water on acrylics, they don't perform as well. It is a plastic based paint, so water doesn't mix that well with plastic. Not saying that it doesn't work. You can absolutely add a little bit of water to your acrylics, no problem. But in general, you know, the proper artist way, which is what I did when I used to work on canvases, was that you mix a medium to make it, you know, the open time, what is called the open time. So you can use it for a little bit longer before it starts to dry up. So there are sort of mediums for that, but there's no need to fuss for mixed medium fun art journaling techniques with mediums and stuff. Just get yourself a fluid paint. So it is nice if you're able to, and it's in your budget, to have a couple of different paints. If you're using acrylic, it's nice to have, you don't really need the heavy body stuff, but sort of just the medium, more standard body acrylics, and then a fluid acrylic as well, because that would just really double up your techniques that you can do. So I've got my pink, but I do want another one. It's a bit of yellow, orange, I'd say. This spray is a little large, so I looked everywhere and it's on my left side. Oh dear. Right, so I'm just taking a very small amount of paint, because like I said, I want it to be thin, and then I'm just applying it in a couple of areas like that. I'm going to braid this off here. I'm going to have a lovely underpaper for my scraps diary, and then take a bit of this. Again, thin it out and add that in there. I am wondering whether I've added enough water, but like I said, it's It's water media, so I can just give it another spritz without making it watery. Oh, I did mean to do this one as well, didn't I? Good, I get to use up more paint. So thin, but not crazy thin, because it is paint, it isn't ink. In a proper printing press, where as you know they use ink, has a really, really long open time, which is why it's used. You couldn't do printing press with paint, it would just always be drying. And because this isn't ink, we do need to work a little faster. And as you can see, I'm covering areas of the stencil that you wouldn't normally want to cover, like all the edges and things. That's on purpose because it's what we're doing. We're not after that. Okay, I need to stop messing. I'm just going to give it a quick spritz. That's got a lot of paint there. Just from afar. I'm just giving it a little bit, just to be certain. Okay, and I'll apply this on top. Just get it nice and stuck. Then I've got my clean brayer, or the same brayer that you can clean off. And I'm pressing down. And this is so fun because it's like you're printing. It's a proper printing press. Not proper, but it's like a printing press, but you're not. It's just paint. And I don't know about you, but I just love the idea of different ways of doing it. It keeps the excitement alive. Okay, that should be fine. We're not after anything perfect, and of course the amount of paint that you use is going to make a difference. And you can practice, you can get grungy looks, or you can try more paint. At some point you'll see that too much paint doesn't work. It's a little bit like a gel plate. Once you start putting too much paint, it's not good. Ooh, I'd probably left this too long. It's sticking a little bit. It's okay. Oh, put a little bit of paper off. Look at that though. Oh, I love it. I do love that stencil. So fun. It's super cute. So over here, it's just pulled a little bit of paper off. That's because I'm using cheap copy paper. You can use something more expensive, or you can just do it quicker, you know, not mess about sticking it so much. So you can see little areas here where there's a lot of paint. It just ends up getting that globby paint look. So that's what I was saying, like you just want to apply it thin, but not so thin that it's not going, like there's a few areas here I think that I got a bit too thin, and you can sort of see the brayer. But I don't know, it's all fun. It's all fun, grungy, different looks that you can put into your journals. So I think I'm going to get a nice bit here of an index card. So yeah, there we are. Stencil as a printing plate. So let that dry and then we can dex it up. So I've got my index card. This is nice and dry, and I've got my printed out label. And I think if I can get this here, oh, just fits perfect. Okay, now I'm just doing the same as I did in the last one. I'll cut this out. This time I'm going to cut it with some leeway around it. Just totally forgot. You'll see me forget lots of little details as I'm talking. It really is a skill, you know, teaching while you're doing, teaching while you're doing. I do admire those teachers that are smoother at it than I am. I do what I can, and I hope you understand. There we are. Okay, so I've got here Technique, Stencil as printing plate, supplies, paint. Okay, there we go, another little technique in our decks, in our rolARTdex. And it's so pretty, isn't it? So, you know, use stencils that you like, use stencils that you love, and you'll get nice index cards to look at as well. And none of this goes to waste. Remember, this is all collage paper that's going to go into our journals. So no problem there. There we go. There we go, another lovely one.